Well, how long have you guys, obviously thinking about this fight and then fighting another great fighter like Canelo and like Bud? How long has this fight been in the making?
No, I never thinking about the fight Crawford. I never in my life, because he's a low weight than me.
Tom Brady just shook the boxing world by claiming Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford is the only fight that truly defines greatness.
There's something yesterday that I thought was very profound. Like he said, every event I do, I lose money, but I just love these guys and I just love the sport. So
I think
big kudos to him.
Yeah, I think for any sports fan, you want to see the best fight the best, and it doesn't matter what sport it is.
Tom Brady didn't hold back when he gave his take on the much-anticipated showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, set for September 13th, 2025. Speaking on the GOATS podcast alongside sports legends like Shaquille O'Neal, Dana White, Canelo himself, and Crawford, the NFL icon explained why fans should be hyped about this bout. According to Brady, what excites him most is watching greatness face greatness, regardless of the sport. Just as basketball, football, and the UFC thrive when elite talents collide, Brady sees this boxing match as the ultimate test between two of the best fighters in the world today. The 7-time Super Bowl champion stressed that the thrill of seeing two masters in their prime going head-to-head is what makes sports truly special.
I think for any sports fan, you want to see the best fight the best, and it doesn't matter what sport it is. I think that's what UFC's done such a great job. When I look at the NBA, it's the great teams against the great teams. It's the great fighters against one another. And then that brings everyone's attention to it. And that's what you want to see. You want to see the best in what's been accomplished and what he's done and what Bud's done and say, all right, let's see what happens. That's the excitement of sports. People want to see greatness, and they want to see greatness go against other greatness and see who wins.
With Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford stepping into the ring to possibly define their legacies, the stakes couldn't be higher. Both fighters are already locked into boxing history, but beating each other could elevate them to legendary status. Despite already being generational talents and making millions, this bout offers more than just a payday. It's about earning the title of the best of this era. The anticipation is growing, and everyone from fighters to promoters and analysts has something to say about it.
I've been a big fan of boxing since I was a kid. I wouldn't be sitting here today if it wasn't for boxing. For this to be the first boxing match that I'm involved in promoting is an absolute honor. Two of the greatest of all time and one of the biggest fights ever in the history of the sport. So very, very proud moment for me, and I've done a lot of things in my career.
How do you see the TKO Boxing League being and evolving over time, and what you hope, obviously you getting involved in boxing and this being your first fight, how do you see it evolving over time?
Yeah, well, I've had a lot of criticisms of the sport over the last 30 years. The way that I'm looking at this is I'm going to start building from the ground up, looking for young talent, up-and-coming guys, putting on fights sort of UFC style, from the first fight of the night to the main event, stacking the card, with the best talent possible to ever do it.
Canelo, what does the greatest of all time mean to you?
For me, I think the guy tried to beat himself. Look at himself and say, I can do this, and he accomplished that. And I can do this, and he accomplished that. And he tried to do the best in everything he do. I think for me, that means the GOAT.
But
GOAT means to me is, a fighter that you can take and put in any era, any weight class, any division, and he's still gonna come out on top. A fighter that walks around in the world, respect him as a champion. The world knows of him as the best. They know, it's no question. So GOAT means what it means to me is inside and outside the ring, how the people view you, how the people respect you, how the people embrace you.
Caron Davis, a fighter who has been around both men, took a balanced view. He pointed out that although Canelo has been seasoned at 168 pounds, Crawford is mentally sharp and has trained hard to carry the extra weight. Davis has been impressed with how Crawford has adjusted physically, and he doesn't believe the size difference will be as big of a deal as some think.
Have you been in there with Crawford?
Yeah.
So you've been in there with Crawford, you've been there with Canelo. What can you take from sparring both of them to gauge what's gonna happen in September?
Preparation is gonna definitely be everything. Crawford adjusting to the 168 pound division. I know he's been sitting at a heavier weight for a while, but like, you know, he's been showing his training and stuff. So that's definitely gonna help him. Canelo experience. But then you got Crawford, got great experience as well. It's gonna be a great fight. It's gonna be a good chess match. I expect a great fight. If I had to favor somebody, I would just pick Canelo because just because of the weight disparity. Canelo is naturally like sits really well at 168, and it's just always tough for a guy to come to 168 and come from that many weight classes up and do something like that. If he does it, you know, if anybody could do it, it'll be Terence Crawford.
Former world champion Sergio Mora shared a detailed breakdown. He admitted that the old saying, "A good big man beats a good small man," might not apply this time. While Canelo has the edge in size, Mora believes the fight will be much closer than many expect. Canelo has shown signs of slowing down in recent outings, particularly struggling with fighters who move well and keep distance. Mora noted that although Canelo is technically younger, he seems to be aging in the ring due to his long, grueling career that started when he was just 15. Interestingly, he pointed out that Crawford now appears bigger than Canelo in both height and frame. Still, Mora leaned slightly toward Canelo, predicting he would win by decision, but only after a tough battle.
Canelo, Terence Crawford, September, the super fight. I know you'll be there. Talk to me about what happens in that fight.
Hey, listen, man. You know, for a long time I kept saying, you know, a great big man will beat a great small man. That's just how it is in boxing. But after Canelo's last performance, like many people, man, he struggled against a guy in cutting off the ring, a longer guy that wasn't trying to make it a fight. And Canelo has lost a step. Let's keep it real. I mean, he's a man with over 65 fights. He's been fighting professionally since he was 15 years old. There's wear and tear. There's injury. He can turn old overnight. And believe it or not, he's younger than Crawford. But Crawford doesn't have those miles. You know, Crawford's 37 years old. He can turn old overnight. But I still like Crawford, man. He's just a mean dude. He's been bulking up nicely, doing it the right way. He looks bigger. He looks bigger than Canelo right now as far as like height, the shoulders. I think it's going to be a decision type fight. I think Crawford's in this fight, and I don't think Canelo leaves unscathed. I think he'll leave a little bruised and beat up, but he'll still win the decision.
On the other hand, Shakur Stevenson offered a very different take. He waved off any worries about Crawford being too small for the weight class and argued that Canelo's power was being overhyped. In Stevenson's eyes, Crawford's speed, timing, and in-fight adjustments could flip the entire fight. He even entertained the idea that Crawford could stop Canelo, an outcome that would shock fans and shake up boxing.
I think Bud gonna cook Canelo. I think he's gonna cook him. I think, you know, Canelo a hell of a fighter, but I think Bud just got all the tools to beat him.
You don't think the weight difference is gonna be too big of an advantage?
I think y'all make that something, you know, in certain fights,
boxing makes it something, not us.
like if this was like a Benavidez, he's actually a lot bigger than Bud, so that would like apply. But I feel like with Canelo, he's like physically kind of big, but like height wise, he's kind of small. So I don't think so, no.
Zab Judah went a step further in his belief. He predicted that Crawford wouldn't just win, but would stop Canelo. Judah highlighted how sharp Crawford has looked in camp and praised his ability to handle the added weight. He believes Crawford's high boxing IQ and ability to adapt will allow him to outmaneuver Canelo, especially if the fight turns tactical.
What about Canelo and Crawford?
Crawford. No hesitation. No hesitation.
I want to see that fight.
Big Bud. Big Bud. We're going to have to roll Canelo up. We're going to have to pack him up, baby.
But how hard is the jump from 47 to 68?
I mean, listen, it's a very big challenge. But what I said, with his skills and the way he's adapted to the size, brother, when I seen them stand toe-to-toe and side by side, I said, game over. Terence Crawford. And listen, don't be surprised if he stops him. I'm telling you.
Who?
Don't be surprised
if Canelo stops Crawford.
Terence Bud Crawford stops Canelo.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I love you. Skills pay the bills. See that, Cody? Skills pay the bills.
Richardson Hitchens, a rising star, echoed this confidence, but with more caution. He stated that Crawford didn't need to copy fighters like Floyd Mayweather or Dimitri Bivol, both of whom have beaten Canelo before. Instead, Hitchens said Crawford just needs to stick to his own style, which is built on intelligence and adaptability. However, he didn't commit to predicting a knockout, expressing doubts about whether Crawford could actually hurt Canelo enough to finish him, given Canelo's renowned toughness.
I think Terence Crawford is one of the most craftiest dudes that Canelo gonna be in the ring with.
hand speed, IQ, long arms, speed, power. You know, switch hitter. I just think that it's gonna be a lot for. It's gonna be something different for Canelo, but then Canelo's Canelo. You know, Canelo been first title defense was in 2011 versus Ricky Hatton, and he's still on top to the present time. So this is over 10 years. We're going on like 15 years of this guy fighting on the championship level. So there's nothing new for him. So I do believe that it's gonna be a huge fight for both guys. But obviously I'm backing Bud. You know, I have a personal relationship with Terence Crawford, and he's a black fighter, and I do want to see my own winning. I think, you know, Bud is a great guy, you know, especially always being hands-on with the young fighters coming up behind him, guys like me, Shakur, Devin Haney's, being in the gym with guys like us, and, you know, just giving us free game and shit like that. So I think that would be motivation for the young ones behind him, to show them like, yeah, like I could do it, like you could do it too. So I really want to see Bud win that fight, and I think that he can.
In contrast, David Benavidez warned about the potential dangers for Crawford. As a top contender at super middleweight, Benavidez stressed that moving up from 154 pounds directly to 168 is no small feat. He emphasized that the division is full of powerful, experienced fighters, and Canelo is especially dangerous at this weight. Benavidez questioned whether Crawford truly understood what he was getting into by jumping 2 weight classes.
Terence Crawford, does he have an opportunity to beat Canelo?
I think if anybody has a chance to beat Canelo, I think it's Terence Crawford. His IQ is on another level. He's a great fighter and he's strong. It's just that it's a lot of weight. I wouldn't be surprised if Terence Crawford wins. Wouldn't be surprised if he loses either. Terence Crawford, when he went up against the best opposition, like Errol Spence, he showed what level he's on, what type of dog he is. So I don't know. You really have to let these fights play out to see what happens. He might get hurt. That might activate him to come back strong.
Could you still make 68?
I don't want to make 68.
No, I know you don't. Terence wins 68.
Yeah, well, if that's, yeah, I can make 168.
Promoter Eddie Hearn, who initially gave the edge to Canelo due to his size and experience at the weight, has since reconsidered. After watching Canelo's flat performance against John Ryder's replacement, Hearn sees a more evenly balanced fight than he originally did. He now views it as a true toss-up, citing Crawford's discipline and intelligence as real factors that could swing the bout in his favor.
He has no doubt in his mind that he's going to win this fight. And anyone that has movement is going to cause Canelo problems at this stage in his career. And first, when the fight was made, I thought that Canelo Alvarez would be a huge favourite in this fight because of the size. But I really see it as a 50-50 fight. Like, I honestly probably favouring Crawford.
Wow.
Because of what I saw.
Oh, you're going to get another Canelo text.
Yeah, no, but I want Canelo to win. Just want to put that out there as well. But I see it like, I'm talking like 55-45, but I would always pick Canelo, but I just being, you know, leaving Times Square, I got on the plane with Crawford and we flew to I've spent a lot of time with him over the years, and he's a massive believer in himself, massive. And he's got a tremendous boxing IQ, and he knows boxing inside out. And he's so convinced he wins this fight. And Canelo's got to switch up everything he's been doing in the last few fights. Like, a William Skull performance will not beat Terence Crawford. I don't think an Edgar Berlanga performance will beat Terence Crawford. I don't think a Jaime Munguia performance or a Charlo performance will beat.
Mike Tyson, one of boxing's all-time greats, believes heart and determination can often outweigh size differences. He referenced old-school legends like Henry Armstrong, who overcame physical disadvantages with pure grit. Tyson sees those same qualities in Crawford and believes he has the willpower and mental toughness to overcome the physical edge Canelo may have.
Another huge event brought by Saudi Arabia. Who do you think wins that fight? Is it maybe the weight too much for Terence Crawford?
You know, there's been men that beat people like Armstrong and McLaren and these guys. They're beating people bigger than them, 2 divisions bigger than them. It's not impossible. You know, Henry Armstrong's a featherweight, and he beat the middleweight champ. At 130 pounds, he beat the welterweight champ. Then he fought a draw with the middleweight champ. So I think size means nothing. Determination means everything.
Caleb Plant, who has fought Canelo himself, took a more centered stance. Rather than focusing on weight or skill alone, Plant believes the fight will come down to mindset. He thinks that whoever brings more focus, composure, and mental resilience will come out on top in what he predicts will be a close, competitive battle.
Terence is not a regular guy. You know what I'm saying? He's special. And, you know, Canelo, he's a top-notch fighter, world-class fighter. Still on the pound-for-pound list, I'm sure towards somewhere near the top. And it's exciting. You know, Terence is freakishly strong. He can punch. He's got good crack. He can fight from both ways. Orthodox, southpaw. He can fight at mid-range, close range, outside. And he can fight going both ways. So it's exciting. It's exciting. It's a big question mark on the end of it, though. So that's why, you know, I'm sure all of us are excited for that bell to ring and, you know, be able to find out firsthand.
Rolando Romero completely disagrees with that assessment. He believes the fight is extremely one-sided and favors Canelo overwhelmingly. Romero expects Canelo to dominate quickly and doesn't see Crawford surviving against the Mexican star's strength. For him, it's not even a question. Canelo's power and size are simply too much.
So, all the people who think Crawford would even have a single chance against Canelo, they're fucking stupid.
Broly, you have a way with words like nobody else.
No, but I hate it when people say that. They're fucking stupid.
Jermall Charlo, whose brother Jermell recently tried to step up and was soundly beaten by Canelo, had some advice for Crawford. He cautioned him against focusing too much on adding size, warning that it could hurt more than help. Charlo emphasized that Crawford's biggest weapons are his speed, movement, and brain. He suggested Crawford should focus on preserving those strengths rather than bulking up for a physical war he might not win.
I like Crawford. All right, my brother fought Canelo, not me. I like Crawford in this fight, and he get to stay big. But my brother even told me that was his mistake that he made. He thought going up in weight, I gotta get massive, I gotta get big to beat Canelo. It made him slower, it made his reflexes slower. He'll tell you himself. He didn't feel like the Jermell Charlo that y'all seen him fight Tony Harrison. Crawford, I feel like that's the same thing as happening. You wanna get big to try to absorb Canelo punches and all this, but that's not, technically, that's not the Crawford that we're gonna see. And then Crawford going up there to fight Canelo at 68, when he's not a 68 pounder, where's the motivation? Y'all gotta think about it like
Big
that.
for Crawford.
The money is good, but I don't expect Terence Crawford to be the Terence Crawford that was knocking out Gamboa, doing all. I don't expect that type of Terence Crawford.
But you're picking Canelo?
I'm not picking either one of their ass.
Jaron Boots Ennis, another top welterweight talent, shared similar doubts. While he respects Crawford, Ennis questioned whether jumping over the middleweight division entirely was a smart move. He believes Canelo's comfort at 168 pounds gives him a clear advantage, and skipping the transition could end up being Crawford's downfall.
But I think you gotta lean more towards Canelo, because like I said before, he been pitting big guys out and down, and Canelo not even really a 68 pounder. He probably really should be at 60 maybe, and he been hurting these guys. I think he be dropping these guys and things like that. So, and them guys be way bigger than him come fight night. I know that for sure. They be probably close to 200 pounds, and he dropping those guys like that. So I don't know. You know, it's gonna be a great fight. You know, the fans want to see it. So, you know, so be it. I think Crawford should take a warm-up fight. You know, at like 60, or like at least at 60, just to get his body, you know, the feeling of somebody a little bit bigger, you know, and things like that. You know, I know when you go up a weight, you gotta, you know, develop that power and not develop the power, but like put that muscle on and be heavier and things like that. So he might not want to take a fight because he's trying to build up right now, but I think he should, just to stay sharp and that way he don't have like a long layoff or anything like that.
Veteran trainer and analyst Teddy Atlas gave a more layered take. He suggested that some of Canelo's previous wins might have been influenced by careful matchmaking and physical advantages. Atlas admires Crawford's discipline and accuracy, and argued that if Crawford fights a nearly perfect match, and if Canelo underestimates him, he could pull off a major upset.
He had trouble with a 154-pound guy when he went up from welterweight to that. So now he's going up to 168. Teddy, come on. How are you going to make an argument? can make an argument to this, to the history of this sport, where little guys have been able to beat big guys, because you reverse it. You reverse who's got the advantage and the disadvantage. Yeah, the size, the power of Canelo, he's got the advantage. Then all of a sudden you go back and you say, wait a minute. The other guy's faster. The other guy's craftier. The other guy has more options. The other guy is slicker. Oh, well, maybe he's got the advantages. Like the first time Pacquiao fought De La Hoya. And I know De La Hoya was having trouble with weight and all that. I get it, and that's fair. But still, I remember I picked that one. Well, every once in a while I pick one right. I remember that I picked that one where Pacquiao's going to win. And I said, yeah, you're saying that De La Hoya's bigger, he's stronger. He's got the power edge, he's got this edge. But the other guy's quicker. And that's going to be an edge. And it was an edge. So at the end of the day, Crawford is very, very special. I'm not saying Canelo's not, but I think he's special in a different way, where he's got instincts that not everyone has. Yeah. That it's the timing, it's the instinctual things, the X factors, the intangibles that he has. And I think they're gonna show themselves. I really do. And I can't wait. Yeah. I can't wait. Yeah. I can't wait to see a smaller guy use those intangibles, use those X factors to beat a bigger guy.
Jose Benavidez Sr. didn't expect fireworks. He predicted a more reserved fight, assuming Crawford would approach with extreme caution. He compared it to the uneventful performances from William Skull and Jermell Charlo, where both failed to engage Canelo effectively, resulting in boring bouts. Benavidez expects Crawford to stay defensive, avoiding risks to minimize damage, which could lead to a dull but strategic affair.
Crawford's a little guy, He's coming up 2 divisions to fight Canelo Alvarez, and you think he's gonna go toe-to-toe with Canelo? Come on, man. Terence Crawford's a great fighter, really good fighter, but that's too much weight for him. So he's gonna try to survive and move around and try to win the round. That's what's gonna happen. I think Canelo at the stage right now, his legs are not the same. The body's not responding the same. So I think he's gonna have problems trying to catch Terence Crawford, to be honest with you. And I think it's gonna be the same fight. I think it's gonna be a boring fight. It's gonna. I'm hoping that it's a little bit exciting, because I heard that Canelo was the worst fight ever on pay-per-view to throw the less punches in history. So we're hoping to see a great fight, a good fight, but that matchup is not a matchup to be exciting.
Manny Pacquiao, one of boxing's most respected voices, took a more diplomatic stance. He acknowledged Crawford's speed and evasive movement as major weapons, but also recognized the real challenge of facing someone as physically strong and experienced as Canelo. While he didn't make a concrete prediction, Pacquiao appeared to lean slightly toward Canelo, while still admitting that Crawford's tools could make the fight very interesting.
Manny, what do you think about Canelo versus Crawford? Crawford's moving up like 20 pounds. What do you think?
Good. Good for Canelo.
Good for Canelo? Manny, any advice on Crawford moving up in weight? You did it so many times. Any advice for Crawford moving up in weight? You did it so many times and you were successful. What do you tell Crawford? Any advice?
My advice to him is just focus on speed and the speed and style.
Amir Khan, who has been in the ring with both fighters, added a unique perspective. He was knocked out by Canelo and also stopped by Crawford, so he knows their power firsthand. Khan pointed out that although Canelo hits harder, Crawford still carries solid power, enough to get respect even in a heavier weight class. He said Crawford might be able to push Canelo back at times, but ultimately he believes the physical strength edge still rests with the Mexican star.
Terence Crawford potentially fighting in September. You're going to get asked a lot about this fight, but as you sit here, sort of quite a few months away. How do you look at the fight between Canelo and Crawford?
I mean, look, there's weights for a reason in boxing, and even though I got a huge respect for Terence Crawford for showing the balls that he wants to go in the ring and fight a beast like Canelo, but like I said, Canelo, maybe Crawford sees something that you know, other people are not seeing against Canelo, which is like maybe he's gone past the sell-by date, and maybe Crawford is the guy to catch him at the right time, you know. So let's see. I mean, I think it's a brilliant fight. Let's see if it happens. But like I said, if it doesn't happen, obviously I'm going to support my boy, Terence Crawford. He's a good friend of mine. Obviously we fought each other, but sometimes you put that to a side, and he shared the training camp with me last time. He spent some good time with me. I was at his house, and shows always shows love. So look, he's one of the best fighters in the world. For him to go up 2 divisions is something I did back in the day when I was at the peak of my career, after beating like Devin Alexander and all the big names. So look, I wish him all the very best, and I think he can do it. You know what I mean? One thing about Terence Crawford, he has great box IQ. His IQ is so perfect where he'll see everything. So yeah.
As the date draws nearer, the boxing world remains divided. What's clear is that no one is writing off either fighter entirely. While some predict dominance by Canelo due to size and experience, others are convinced that Crawford's skill, heart, and mental edge could tilt the fight in his favor. With so many different voices weighing in, from legends like Mike Tyson and Manny Pacquiao to trainers, analysts, and rising stars, the fight is shaping up to be more than just a clash of champions. It's becoming a battle of philosophies, power versus precision, experience versus adaptability, and size versus skill. No matter the outcome, fans can expect fireworks when 2 of boxing's brightest stars step into the ring.